for listening to Uncle Sam's Soccer Podcast, keeping you up to date with the latest in American soccer. And don't forget to subscribe.
On the first ever episode of Uncle Sam's Soccer Podcast, the United States reaches a record 10th Gold Cup final after beating Costa Rica 2-0 in Arlington, Texas. What does it all mean for the U.S.? Also, U.S. and FC Dallas center back Walker Zimmerman joins the program to discuss his upbringing, family, and FC Dallas. Lastly, LAFC are a mere 8 months away from their first ever match in Major League Soccer. How will the LAFC-LA Galaxy rivalry affect MLS? How will they affect each other? All on the first ever episode of Uncle Sam's Soccer Podcast.
Hello everyone and welcome to the first ever edition of Uncle Sam's Soccer Podcast. I am Steven Jotter and across from me is my co-host Armand Kafai.
What's up, y'all? What's up?
How we doing? What an awesome episode we got for you. We're so happy you guys can listen. Follow us on Twitter at Unc Sam Soccer Pod. You can follow me on Twitter at Steven Jotter and
you can follow me on Twitter at KAFAI Sport.
And subscribe to the iTunes podcast because that's what we want you to do. So hit the subscribe. That way it's already taken care of and you don't have to worry about it ever again. But let's get straight to it. Armand, you were at the U.S. Gold Cup semifinal against Costa Rica last night in Arlington, Texas. How was it?
It was a great atmosphere. We saw 45,000 there. United States secured a 2-0 win over Costa Rica. It was an interesting game. When I was watching it, I don't know, you caught like the latter part of the game, is that correct?
Yeah, I caught majority of the game. I was in and out of the game because I think the first couple minutes. So my big gripe was the game started so late.
It started at 9 o'clock. We got there at around 7:30. After all the press conferences and stuff, me and my partner left around 12:30, and I got home at around 2. So that just shows you how late that game lasted into.
Well, just think about it. If you're a U.S. fan and you're watching on the East Coast, the game started at 10:03 or whatever it was. What is CONCACAF doing?
I honestly don't know. I mean, were they trying to appeal to the West Coast or
I
don't get it.
I couldn't find the overnight ratings as far as the game, but it is baffling because Champions League football in Europe typically starts at 8:45. And that's already late for them.
Right.
But 9 o'clock, I mean, the NBA Finals starts at 8 o'clock, Central Time, so it's 9 o'clock. No. 8 o'clock.
It was 8 o'clock Central
so
Time,
9 o'clock Eastern Time, but this is ridiculous. People do not have that time, especially, when they have kids Sunday morning, some of them go to church, whatever it is. It's
I feel like there could have been a bigger crowd if the game was a little bit earlier, maybe like if it started at 7 o'clock.
You said 45 out of a stadium that holds 90 easily.
Mm-hmm.
So was the atmosphere good?
It was good. One thing I kind of noticed was the Outlaws were a little quiet, but when Dempsey was getting ready to come on, the crowd erupted. When they scored, the crowd erupted. So I mean, it was a good crowd, but for a lot of it was a little quiet, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for the first half, it was all USA in domination of possession, but not necessarily of chances. As far as the game ended 2 goals. The 2 goals came in the second half. But in the first half, you had opening seconds. Morris flying down on the
It was great combination play with Areola, Morris, Altidore. And for the first 25 minutes, you thought USA was going to get one. You thought it was going to be 1-0. USA would be easily going into the Gold Cup. But then you saw Costa Rica finally get into the game, and it kind of changed. Costa Rica was playing a lot better, and they had the bulk of the chances for the latter part of the first half. I mean, it wasn't really until Dempsey came on that the game really changed for USA.
Right, and Costa Rica came into the game, they're going to play defensively.
Mm-hmm.
That was with the formation that was really a back 5.
It was a back 5.
4.
Yeah, the Gold Cup website says the back 4, but watching the game was definitely a back 5.
They definitely sunk it in, and the U.S. with the traditional 4-4-2.
Absolutely, yeah.
Going in and Altidore with Jordan Morris kind of swapping in and out. Altidore being more of the lead man, Morris kind of dropping back.
Right,
and running out on the sides.
They played a lot through the wings. If you watched it, there wasn't that much central play. And there's actually a map posted on Twitter by Paul Carr, and if you see, he always points out there's a Pulisic-sized gap in the middle.
Yeah,
and it's right where Pulisic would be playing. There was no middle creativity. It's all in the wings. It's all Nagbe, Areola, the combination play between the fullbacks and the wingers. That was the U.S.'s main source of attack. There was not that much attack through the center of the park.
And then Kellen Acosta, Darlington Nagbe, and Michael Bradley made up the midfield.
Mm-hmm.
And then Graham Zusi kind of playing some sort of wing-back position, covering in defense, going forward.
Yeah, I Zusi as a player, he's very good. He has very good crossing, very good passing, but he's not a right back in my eyes. He is too slow to be a right back. He is more of a central midfielder, in my opinion, and the fact that he was playing right back, it wasn't that good, and he was getting burned on the wings especially, too. I mean, there's a couple times where Costa Rica played long balls over the top, and Zusi would be sprinting back. He couldn't catch him. He wasn't as fast enough as players.
Well, you had the opening second smash of the near post. Then Guzman for Costa Rica minutes later had a chance. But after that, it was USA with possession. Kind of
just trying to break through the Costa Rican defense. It wasn't like any substantial chances.
Were periods of time where Michael Bradley would force a pass. Kellen Costa would force a pass. Mm-hmm. Somebody would always force a pass. And Costa Rica, good solid minutes where Costa Rica would touch the ball and then would go right back to the U.S.
Right.
And it just was a stalemate. Mm-hmm. Second half comes on, and it was more of what the first half was. But what changed the game was Clint Dempsey.
I mean, I was talking to somebody in the press box. The one player on that team that could provide difference was Clint Dempsey on the bench. No one else. You look at the bench, there was no true creative. They're hardworking players. There's no, maybe Joe Corona, but that's pushing it a little bit. It was all Clint Dempsey as a creative force. And when he came on, you could tell it just made a massive difference for them. I mean, you saw it. He created the first goal with Altidore, and he scored the free kick goal. I mean, what else can you ask for a sub like that?
Yeah. And so the assist, then Dempsey comes on, provides the assist for Altidore, and that's when it seemed to open.
Yes.
The United States was more creative. Going forward, it seemed like they could score at any moment.
Oh, yeah. It was all about that creativity. Dempsey brought that creativity that not on the level of Pulisic, but it's still a creativity the USA lacked throughout the game. I mean, if you watch him, like I said, there was no one in the middle to even create something. It was all in the wings. It was very wing-based play, if that makes any sense.
You know, not Dempsey, but Altidore has had a dry spell as far as U.S. goal scoring. It's his first goal in 10 matches for the national team.
Yeah, and you saw it in his celebration. He threw off his shirt, flexed his nipples that had been pinched by the El Salvadorian players.
Yeah,
but I mean, I thought it'd be a little Band-Aid on there. You know what I'm saying?
He's also, he's ripped. He's a ripped guy.
Oh yeah, he is ripped. But
he's also third on the all-time goal scoring list as far as the national team. Has 106 appearances.
Your boy Landon's number one.
Yeah, my boy Landon is now joint second.
Joint first place, yeah.
Yeah, first place, sorry. But in my eyes, he's second. But no, Josie Altidore, he's still 27, so he could actually go for the record.
I mean, he's still relatively young if you think about it for a soccer player.
He's not an old player.
He's not like an old player compared to, the rest of the old guns on the team.
Right. Dempsey gets the assist. 10 minutes later, the free kick, he puts it low. The wall was off-centered.
It was weird. You saw the Costa Rican player stick his foot out, but the ball went underneath his foot.
Yeah.
When he stuck his foot out, and you're like, wow, that went in.
It's in the back of net, 2-0. Dempsey knew the moment.
Yeah, he celebrated before it went in.
Yeah, he knew the moment the ball left his foot.
A little Stephen Curry action right there.
Yeah, a lot of it. And good for him. He ties it, 57 goals. And what's insane is it's 17 games faster than Landon Donovan did.
He is what we call Captain America. This is one of the best players in United States history.
You can make an argument he's probably the greatest at the moment.
Oh, absolutely. I think so.
I think Landon Donovan gets the rep because he was number one. And, he kind of carried the torch for the U.S. But as far as it comes to the best player overall, Landon Donovan isn't necessarily high on as many lists as people would believe.
If we're looking at overall body of work, international and club, you have to give to Dempsey with his time in Fulham.
Yes.
And his time in Europe, he played very well. He plays well in MLS. He plays well in international. He's overall a well-rounded player.
Yes. So that's the recap of the game. Possession was still at the end was 41% for Costa Rica and 59% for the United States, which I think is a huge talking point because in the first half it was 61-39, and the U.S., besides for the opening minute strike by Jordan Morris hitting the post, other than that, they were uncreative going forward.
Yeah, there wasn't that much creativity. I mean, Nagby played really well on the wings. He was a very good just creative force on the wings. But like I said, what the U.S. lacked was that middle creative force. You can't just play on the wings the whole game.
Well, here's Josie Altidore post-game.
Yeah, it was big, man, just to carve a chance for me. I felt like I've been doing a lot of good work. Just kind of missed that opportunity. And today he came in. He does what he does. He tries shit, man. He had a beautiful turn. Got away from another guy and then an incredibly weighted ball, so it was terrific.
You celebrated that goal with a lot of emotion. I mean, where did that come from?
No, it's just it's been a tough road for me in terms of tournaments for the national team. So to get one finally and play in kind of an important game, I was really happy, and I was just happy to be out there because I haven't been able to play in one in a while.
How thrilled are you guys to have Clint tie that record?
Oh, look, you can tell everybody's happy for him. I mean, he's been working so hard. To be a part of some part of that journey, or to be a part of some small piece of it, it means a lot to me, and I was really thrilled for him.
Is this your most complete performance as a team tonight, do you think?
In this tournament, I think so far. I thought we played a really good team. I thought this was probably one of the first real tests for us, and I thought Costa Rica played well. We have to give them a lot of credit.
So, do apologize about not hearing the questions as much.
Yeah,
well.
and the language from Altidore.
Yeah. You can tell he was fired up after the game, especially scoring in so long. But, he talked about it. He says this was the best game so far in the tournament. Obviously, it's personally for him, he hasn't done so well when it comes to tournament. The World Cup in 2014 pulls up, 18 minutes into the game with a hamstring?
Yep.
And that ruined his tournament. And at the time, it definitely changed the complexion of the United States on the field tactically. But overall, what are our thoughts over the game? I mean, what are we doing with the United States? Because to me, it's still the same problem we've had for the last 15 years. Christian Pulisic will no doubt change the creativity of the United States. But that is one player. And you see it. The United States, what are they going to do different when they play a Germany, a Argentina, a Chile, a Mexico?
My thing is this. The USA is kind of stuck in this weird transition period, if that makes any sense. This is what I want to I mentioned to you off the show. They're in some weird transition period where they want to move away from Dempsey, Bradley, all these guys.
But they
can't.
Rely. They
can't.
Still rely on them, and it's like you feel frozen in town because it's you go back 6 years ago and you're still looking at the same players.
It's the same players, same thing. And with Arena coming back, you're gonna get that same thing. Those players that he always trusts and rely on. That's gonna be the Dempseys, Altidores,
no doubt,
and the Bradleys. And like you said, what are they gonna do different against teams like Germany and stuff? These guys, they've proven that they can't really keep up with those teams with the current group that they have with the Altidore, the Dempseys, and all that stuff. So what's going to change? And that's the thing. I don't know what's going to change because they're stuck in this transition period. You have all these players like younger players like Kel Acosta, Jordan Morris, but you still have Clint Dempsey, you still have Michael Bradley, you still have all these players. Now, I'm not saying they're bad. They're quality players. But at some point, we have to realize we got to move on. We can't be stuck in 2006, 2010. We got to move on. We got to go to
it's route, like look at the goalkeeper situation. It's who?
Tim Howard.
It's still Tim Howard. Yes, you have Jesse Gonzalez. I don't understand why Bruce Arena. Timmy Howard, is he going to be even playing at the World Cup next season? Next year?
I mean, you have to expect so, right? I mean,
how old is he? 38?
38, something like that. Yeah.
So he's already an old man. Yeah, I get it. Buffon, but Buffon is 20 times the keeper that Tim Howard was in his heyday. So why not give it to Jesse Gonzalez? Why not give it to a youngster?
Or Bill Hamid or Sean Johnson or something along those lines. They're just stuck in time, and that's the thing that people are worried about with Bruce Arena. Because Klinsmann wasn't afraid to try things. As much as I didn't like Klinsmann, he wasn't afraid to try things and put in young players here and there. But Arena is going to stick to his old guns.